The Etymology of the Name Emu by James R. McClymont, recorded for LibriVox Coffee Break Collection, Volume 3. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Chris Curran. The Etymology of the Name Emu by James R. McClymont. The name Emu has an interesting history. It occurs in the forms Emia and Emi in the Purkas is pilgrimage in 1613. In Banda and other islands, says Purkas, the bird called Emia or Emi is admirable. We should probably pronounce Emi in 2 syllables as Emi. This Emi or Emia was doubtless a cassowary, probably that of Ceram. The idea that it was a native of the Banda group appears to have existed in some quarters at the beginning of the 17th century, but the idea was assuredly an erroneous one. So large a struthious bird as the cassowary requires more extensive feeding grounds and greater seclusion than this was to be found in any island of the Banda group, and as at the present day, so in the past, Ceram was the true home of the Malayan cassowary, which found and which finds in the extensive forests of that island the home adapted to its requirements. It is, however, equally certain that at an early date the Ceram cassowary was imported into Amboina, and probably into Banda also, and we know of an early instance of its being introduced into Java, and from Java into Europe. When the first Dutch expedition to Java had reached that island, and when the vessels of which it was composed were lying at anchor off Sindaya, some Javans brought a cassowary on board Schellenger's ship as a gift, saying that the bird was a rare one, and that it swallowed fire. At least so they were understood to say, but that they really did say so is somewhat doubtful. However, the sailors put the matter to the test by administering to the bird a dose of Hollands. Perhaps the Hollands was ignited and administered in the form of liquid fire, but it was not expressly stated that this was the case. This cassowary was brought alive to Amsterdam in 1597, and was presented to the Estates of Holland at The Hague. A figure of it, under the name Emi, appears in the 4th and 5th German editions of the account of this voyage of the Dutch to Java by Hulsius, published at Frankfort in 1606 and 1625. The figure is a fairly accurate representation of an immature cassowary. Whence comes, let us ask, the name Emi and the later form Emu? The New Historical English Dictionary suggests a derivation from a Portuguese word, ema, signifying a crane, but no authority is quoted to prove that ema signifies, or ever signified, crane. On the other hand, various Portuguese dictionaries which have been consulted render ema by cassowar, or state that the name ema is applicable to several birds, of which the crane is not one. Magalhaes de Gandavo, in his Historia da Provincia Sancta Cruz, published in 1576, uses the name Hema in writing of the Rhea or Nandu. It is worthy of note that the Arabic name of the cassowary is Naima, and that there were many Arab traders in the Malayan archipelago at the time when the Portuguese first navigated it. The Portuguese strangely distorted Malay and Arabic names, and it would not be surprising if they reproduced Nima as Unaima. Salvadori, referring to History General devoid the 8th, page 112, states that the cassowary which was brought alive to Europe by the Dutch in 1597 belonged first to Count Solms van Gravenhage, then to the Elector Ernest van Keulen, and finally to the Emperor Rudolph II. Ornat della Papusia e delle Molucce, the 3rd, page 481. End of the Etymology of the Name Emu.